And sometimes that can be hard for your family members to understand. And it can be hard for you too, because you feel like you're missing out on things. So I think, at least for me, like it's been a bit of a transition. Like our family's been very supportive, but there's also been moments too where they like want to do a certain thing and you're putting your kids' priority first.
Hi everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of She's Got It Together. I'm your host, Jessica.
And I'm Samantha. Each week we peel back the curtain on what it really looks like to have it together.
From the messy moments to the milestones, we're here to share it all.
So grab your favorite drink, get comfy, and let's dive into today's topic.
So we're going to dive into kids and traveling, whether it's a weekend getaway or a couple week getaway or whatever you want it to be. But traveling with kids when you and your family were used to not having kids can be really hard because your routines are different, your priorities are different. And sometimes that can be hard for your family members to understand. And it can be hard for you too, because you feel like you're missing out on things. So I think, at least for me, like it's been a bit of a transition. Like our family's been very supportive, but there's also been moments too where they like want to do a certain thing and you're putting your kids' priority first, and they forget that you can't just like get up and go, or you can't just go do this thing at 1 p.m. when your kid's supposed to be taking a nap. So you're having to put your kids' needs and like your family's needs, like your little nucleus of a family's needs first before the extended family. And I think sometimes that does get hard, and it's hard for some people to remember.
Phases. Yes, everybody's in different phases of their life. And when you put together more than just your small, your immediate family, well, not even
your little family.
Yeah. Like, I mean, when you start getting the grandparents and, even you and I with, our kids are, with their age gap.
Like 9, 10.
Yeah.
13 years apart.
Right.
Their needs are different.
They're very different, and it's different stages of life. So, back 10 years ago, I was where you are, and now, our kids are grown so that we can kind of get back into the swing of most things.
You have a little bit more freedom of
I do.
Doing what you want to do. Yeah.
A lot of sass.
Right. But it's like you don't have to like worry about like nap times or certain like meal times and bedtimes. Like those are the things.
Bathroom. Potty training. Remember, that's coming for you, sooner than later.
Yes,
so that'll be a whole nother, dynamic to add to this hard. It's not hard. It's just this unique stage. It's a
phase of life that that's great, and it's so rewarding and fun. But at the same time, it shows like the little cracks of things that you can't do, or that like people
you miss out on
are like forgetting that it's not like you don't want to do it, or you don't want to bring your kid over or do this certain thing, but like you have to do like your schedule or your routine. And some people are more rigid with their schedules and some people are more flexible. But I'm not going to take my kid over to your house when it's like 30 minutes before his nap time, and I know he's going to be a disaster. Like that's just like there. It's like that's just not going to happen. Yeah. And so if there's like an expectation or something in their mind that they want to do that day, and you're not meeting it, they can get like upset about it. But you just have to put your family first and your kids' needs first, and that doesn't always sit well.
Yeah, it's easy to forget the stage that someone else is in since you've long passed it. Going up north with our family, it was always hard for me because I had little kids. You guys were just in your kind of early 20s, still having fun, but adults. And then, of course, mom and dad, they didn't have any responsibilities really outside of themselves, so they could do whatever they wanted when they wanted. But you throw in my family with that, and then you've got, we had 2 little girls. And then having bonfires like we did, we'd be outside all day. Well, that doesn't really work for
Right, like in the winter,
a 1
yeah.
or 2-year-old, or just going out snowmobiling all day. I mean, not that we have done that in years, but I mean that used to be a thing. And
It was something, yeah. Well, and then just going out on the boat, like we would go out on the boat like all day and have like our food, drinks,
Right.
like music, like we'd be out on the lake all day, but you can't do that with kids. And like we learned that this summer with our kids. It was the first summer that we had kids up north, and it was, hard for, it was hard for me too, because like I was also breastfeeding Bo,
Too,
so
yeah.
like that took up a lot of time, and then you feel like you're missing out because we would wake up, we'd like get everything ready, we'd get out on the boat, we'd stay out there all day, go over to like our friends' houses on the lake, and be gone all day, and like maybe come back for dinner. Sometimes we didn't, we stayed over there and had dinner, or we came back real quick and all ate dinner together somewhere, and then like after dinner you'd have like a bonfire and more drinks, and you just like party all night kind of thing.
Right.
And then now it's like, no, we're waking up really early up north, and then we're getting the kids breakfast, and then we're just like playing until their first nap. Okay, then you're sitting around trying to figure out what you can do, and then people are like,
the small
our
frame.
Yeah, well, and then like for Brett and I, we have like our family has a cottage, but then Brett's family also has a cottage. It's on the other side of the lake. That's how we met. So like his family's all over there, and then we were staying at like our family's cottage. So then it's like they want to see us, but I'm over here, and then Bo's waking up. He's got his morning. He takes a nap at 10. So it didn't make sense to go over there the way like the mornings go. You know how mornings go. Like some are great, some are not. And then he's going to sleep, and then they want to see him, they want us to come over, like families over there, and it's like, but I can't, because he has to take a nap. I can't just bring him over and then have him be a disaster the rest of the day because I missed his nap by an hour, because then that messes up his whole day. Right. It's like, I'll bring him over after he wakes up. It's like, I promise I'm coming. I'm not.
Day too. I mean, it could, the whole
ruin
weekend,
the night.
honestly, you start off on the wrong foot, and you're
right. So it's hard because you feel torn, because yes, of course, like you want to be over there, you want to see your friends, you want to see your family, but you also know that your kid comes first and their needs come first. And then, like you said, people forget that, or they don't think it's that big of a deal if they miss their nap, or they're just a little late for a nap because it's been so long. Right. Yeah. Or like they just are not as like worried about it. Their kids might be able to like kind of go with it better.
The kids wise, I mean,
well,
structure is
like
kind of how all of ours work best.
Right. Right. And I feel like with Bo too, it was like, he'd be great then. He'd maybe take like an hour and a half nap. He's not a big, long napper. I'm lucky if I could get an hour out of him. Mm-hmm. And then we'd get him ready. But then that's the other thing. Then you have to like get him ready, get him sunscreened up, get like their bathing suit on, get all their life jacket, all the crap they need. Right.
I mean,
So then you get on the boat, or then you get in your car and you go,
and
to the house. Right. And it's like, but then literally, like, it's like they wake up and they need lunch. So then you're like, do I feed them lunch and then go over? Do I go over and feed them lunch there? Like, it's like a whole thing. It's like you have this little human that you have to take care of.
Yes.
And you have to, like, you can't just like not do it or ignore their needs.
And I was like,
to make everybody happy. Like,
there is no moving it around very far.
Right.
I mean,
so we would get out, right? We would get out on the boat. Like, we'd be like, okay, guys, like, you better be ready when I'm ready with this kid, because we are ready to go. Like, if you want to get out in this boat today for like an hour or 2 hours or however much time we get, like if we're out there for 20 minutes, whatever, it's like, you better be ready at the drop of a hat to go on this boat. So a lot of the times, like,
for you to run down.
Right. It's like, just go sun yourself on the boat. When I'm ready, I'll be running out there like, start the boat. Like, let's go. But it's like, then once you get out there, it's fun, it's great, but then like then he'd have to eat. So I'm like, okay, let me just sit on the boat and I'm going to feed you. Or, then like they're fussy because they're not used to being in a life jacket or on the boat and they can't play.
Like
and at this point, like Bo couldn't even walk or
this summer
really
will be different for you.
Crawl very much at that point. This summer, he'll be all over the place. It'll be a little bit easier. He'll be down to one nap. So it's like it goes in phases, because now I'll just have lunch and nap for him. He can be outside all morning. We can go see everybody in the morning. We can maybe get out on the boat. It'll be a little bit easier. But then now I'm pregnant.
I was going to say, you're starting all over again.
So then we're starting all over next year, which honestly, it's going to be like that for a long time. And I think, like you said, people just forget like how hard it is, one, just to get everybody ready and out of the house, but to be able to also keep your kids happy, keep them on a schedule and fed and just in a good mood so that you actually can enjoy your time with everyone, because nobody really wants you to come over if your kid is tired and hungry and a mess and crying.
Right.
Like, that's not fun for anybody. Just to be there.
Anyways.
Like, is it really worth it just to be there? I don't think so. They probably are like, why are you here?
Right, exactly.
But
why did you come over if he's like
it's
this?
like, well, I felt like I needed to because I was
so.
missing out and you told me I needed to come over. Like, so that's why it's like hard, because you are literally feeling torn in all these directions. And you as like an adult want that time. You want to be able to go out on the boat, have some drinks with your family and your friends, and then not worry about it. And it's like, you just can't do that right now. Your life is forever changed. But, it is what it is.
For a minute.
Yeah. I was just going to keep going, but
okay, sorry.
Cut this out.
Anyways.
Slice.
Yeah, it is hard. I mean, and then, so that's like one aspect, and that's like a place
that's a weekend.
Go to often.
Like,
right, it's a weekend, but it's also, a place that is fairly well accommodating for your needs.
Oh, yes.
Because you go there all the time. But now if you
we have everything
trip,
there.
You go on a trip out, wherever. That's a whole different ball game. I mean, whether you're staying in a hotel, an Airbnb, a camper,
right.
I mean, that's like a whole other.
It just puts a whole nother level of stress on it, because one, like, our kids are familiar with the cottage in that place. Right. So it's not as new. Like, granted, like, they do have trouble sleeping there maybe the first night sometimes until they get adjusted, but it's not like a whole new city or state or house or hotel or wherever that they're just like expected to be able to be comfortable in. Like, kids, of course, are most comfortable at home, and then the places they go often, but then you're taking them completely out of their element and just expecting them to like be okay. Well, like, they're not going to just be okay. It's going to be an adjustment for sure. At least for my kids or my kid.
We remember going to Gatlinburg when Taylor was 2, I think 3, something like that. Yeah. And Hayden was 8? And you came as the babysitter.
Right.
I mean, that was still like an entire
well, it's ordeal. Like you're out doing things, and then like they're tired, or you're going to some kids can take good stroller naps. Like, Bo used to be able to take good stroller naps, not so much now. But it's like, then you're out, the schedules usually when you're on a vacation like that are going to get messed up. Right. I mean, I know
you have to go with the flow.
If you're doing activities and you're out and about in the city or whatever, like, your kids are going to get, I mean, at least for me, like, when we're doing something like that, I'm a little bit more flexible. But then I'm like, if they're really bad, I'm like, okay, no, yesterday was a disaster. Like, they have to nap on time today. It's like, I will go back. I will miss out because it's on me the rest of the night, and then it's not fun for anybody else to hear your kid upset and crying, and it's just stressful.
Well, and even the activities that you choose to do when you're gone. I mean, so like with Gatlinburg for us, I mean, what we did, we walked through town a ton with the strollers. We had to having to get Hayden, who was 8, we had to get her a stroller.
Taylor was fine walking. She wanted to walk around. Yeah, and then Hayden just wanted to be in the stroller.
So we had to buy an extra stroller.
One of those little, high maintenance child.
Yeah, she was a high maintenance child. She was oldest and the worst on that trip. But I mean, we couldn't, go off, and I mean, there were some cool golf courses there and stuff. Like, we couldn't go off and just do that. I mean, we did do a lot of tastings for all of the moonshine and things, which
I felt like those are pretty like family friendly because you literally just like go in, you can walk around, you can get a tasting or not, and just like go. I was all like open kind of, so you just go in and out of the stores. But then you guys since the whole reason for me to come was to babysit, like you guys went out to dinner one night, which was great for you.
Yeah, it was
it's nice
fun,
to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But yes, getting kids to sleep in a new place can be hard because they're just not comfortable. It's a new room. It's, not the same smell. They might not have all their same things.
Shadows. There's just, like all the things.
It's a bigger or smaller, or like with Bo, like we, tend, because we will travel with like family, you're usually all in one room. And I think Bo has a harder time when he's sleeping in our room because he hears us, there's more noise, and like he just knows we're in there. So if he wakes up in the middle of the night, instead of turning over and going back to sleep, he's like crying for us, and then he wants us. So then that makes it harder. But it's like you can't, he's not old enough to just like be sleeping out somewhere else with like the other kids, or he'd wake them all up probably, So that's the other aspect. It's a new place. They're not that comfortable sleeping. And then if you are in the same room and they're used to sleeping in their own room, that can also be hard because they're like, oh, I want you. You're here. Like, pick me up. Can't let it. And then the other thing is like, we'll let Bo cry too and go back to sleep. Mm-hmm. But like when you're on vacation with people, you're afraid that if you just if you let him screaming cry for 20 minutes, you're waking everyone up and all the other kids up. And it's like, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I can't do it. Yeah. I mean, if I was like downstairs and we were all off by ourselves or something in the area of the house, maybe, but it's like, I'm like, I can't do it. I can't let him cry not all night, but like for 10 minutes and like wake everyone up, and that makes it hard too.
I mean, gosh, that was even harder at the cottage when I would take the girls up there. And we were in the downstairs bedroom, but still having Taylor crying in there was still a bit of a challenge because
I'm the same way with Bo at the cottage. Yeah. And like mom and dad will be like, oh, it's fine. Like,
right.
Like, it's not fine. Like,
it's just not working for me.
Because they'll wake up in the morning and be like, oh, I heard him wake up. Like, did he go back? And I'm like, yeah. And that was just like a couple minute cry. Or like, if he just like couldn't get back to sleep and was upset and was crying, it wasn't like we weren't going to him. But yeah, it's like, no. It's like you want everyone to be able to get a good night's sleep. So then you're like, I just won't sleep. I will pick him up, or he'll come in bed with me, or whatever. It's like... Yeah. You just don't. But I mean, you know what? It's such a short amount of time for like that vacation or that weekend or whatever. It's just like, okay, I will sacrifice myself and my sleep because I have to for my child.
That's funny. I mean, taking this even just to, your small little family, like when we went to Disney a couple years ago. Yeah. 2-3 years ago. Gosh, how long has it been? I don't even know. So when we went to Disney, it's the dynamic, even with just the four of us in one bedroom, 2 beds, the girls sleeping together. I don't know if we had to switch at one point and we had to alternate adult kid kind of thing. Cause the kid can, they don't sleep well, but going even like on rides and things when we were there, that's hard too, because we've got one that's, younger.
Well, they're 5 years apart. Yeah.
Right. So she can't go on certain rides. So it's like we had to even, kind of explain to Hayden why, you can't go maybe on all these big rides because we're not going to stand in line for an hour when your sister has nothing to do.
Or it's like one of you go with her on that ride and one of you take the other one on another ride. But then, you're splitting up, which, that's fine for maybe a little bit if she really wants to go on some of those rides.
Not on all of them, I mean, because there was still quite a few like that. But I mean, there's just so many pieces that like you navigate.
Well, it's like different activities that you're doing, like not everyone in the family is going to be able to do every activity that you want to do. Like, we're going to Colorado. I can't go skiing. I'm pregnant and I have Bo, which is fine, but we're going. And that's what most everyone's going to be doing. And they're going to be taking turns because we have other kids in the family too. So it's like you're going on this vacation, but it's not necessarily like a vacation that you get to go. Right. But that's part of... Right. And that's part of going on like family vacations. It's like you just have to be flexible with what's going on, and then hopefully like there's going to be something that like I can do or that Bo can do.
Do other things. Yeah.
It's like maybe we can go into town, or maybe we can like find like a sledding hill or like something. But it's like there's just only so many things that like you can do, and then having your whole family go. Right, there's so many different people in so many different phases of life.
Yes.
And like people forget that like, oh yeah, you have kids and you're pregnant. Like you can't go skiing on and we're going on a ski trip. But like I'm still going because I want to be with the family. Right. But it's like not necessarily right. It's not necessarily a vacation this time.
Drink, you can't ski. You can't. Like,
I know. So it's like so the next vacation, I'm hoping like it'll be somewhere warm, and I can just maybe like relax on the beach, have some cocktails, like whatever. But it's like not every vacation is going to be perfect for everyone in the family if you're trying to take a family vacation with everyone.
Extended like that, yeah. It's just,
right. Because everyone's in different phases of life. And when we planned this trip, we didn't necessarily know I was going to be pregnant. We like hoped I would be. And I just kind of was like, okay, well then I'm not going to ski. And quite honestly, I haven't skied in a very long time. So it's probably a good out that I'm pregnant and I can't ski because it's been a couple years.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm hoping that there's, something that I can figure out there that I can do while they are skiing. And I know not everyone's skiing all day, every day, because when we went to Colorado the first time, none of us had kids. Like none of us had anything that we were the kids. Responsible for. We were the kids,
what I mean? Right? Like you were the kids.
Yeah. So now, like then we would wake up at 7. We skied like till 4. We'd break for lunch,
thing,
and then we would come back, have dinner, like have drinks, play cards, and then we'd go to bed, get up, do it the next day. We did that for like 5 days. But now it's like, no, like I have kids. Brett's sister has kids. There's other kids, because other families coming.
You do this, it could be, you're going to have
another. We'll have 2 kids, and then who knows? I don't know if we're going to have a third kid or not. I don't know. But it's like everybody's in different phases of life, and the vacations are not going to be perfect for everybody. That's like just impossible. But it's also nice to be able to find something for the other people to do while they're on vacation. And like I need to like look for stuff to do with Bo.
Yeah.
Because I don't necessarily want to sit around at the Airbnb all day. Right. But then there's going to be days that, what? Yeah, let's just chill here, relax. Like this is great. But then I'm going to want to get out. I'm going to want to do something. So then also it's on me to kind of find things to do for me and Bo, because they're going to be skiing or they're going to be,
well, hopefully
doing
you have at least one day that's not like that, and that you guys can do other things together.
Right, together. Well, that's the other thing too. It's like I totally understand them like wanting to go ski and have fun. That's why we're there. But at the same time, I'm like, can we all do something together like one day so that I can be with everybody,
activities,
right?
Crazy hills.
But and it's like, and I should just like say something, and I'm sure they would be fine with it. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to be like picky and like right. I was like, I don't want to ruin your plans, but like, can we all do something together one day, or like half a day?
Plans for a couple hours.
I know, and it's like I should just find something that would be fun for all of us to do and make the suggestion. I just haven't done that yet, but it's just funny when you are put in these situations, it can be a little uncomfortable because you're going with like your husband's family, like your in-laws and their family and their extended family. And this was the plan to go skiing and whatever. And that's fine. But I'm like, can we do something that I can do? It's like
you just almost assume that everyone will remember.
We'll think about that. Yeah.
Or consider that.
Right.
But it's hard to, I think it's harder for people that have been out of it for so long, like our parents, because they don't even realize how difficult it is at this stage.
Yeah. Well, and then Bo's going to have nap time, and he's going to have, and I'm pregnant too, which it's one thing if I just had Bo, but it's like, it's not like we can just go to the bar, and like, or go like to a brewery where it's kid friendly, have a couple drinks, it's like, I can't do that either. I'm totally up for a mocktail. I would still go,
Your mocktails crack me
I know.
up.
But it's like, there's things that we can do. We just have to like find out what they are.
Reminder, though, to other people that are not in this phase, that when you have somebody in your group, in your party, in your family, whatever, that's going to be, attending whatever event, just keep it in mind. I mean, like, it's hard to do when you're not.
Well, it's hard because you don't necessarily think right. Or you don't think about, I didn't even think that she wouldn't be able to go, or or I didn't even think about that.
She might be bored because she can't do it. Like, you might know or realize, but just think about it. Like, I mean,
yeah. Well, and that's the thing. There's that's the thing too. It's like, I'd like to be included, but it's like, they're not purposefully doing this. No, it's just like it's just also too like, you need to also be able to like speak to your family and tell them how you're feeling too, and be open about it, because then it's like they, like you said, haven't been in this phase for a while, or they haven't even thought about that part of it. It's like, oh yeah, I thought you just wanted to relax at the Airbnb. It's like, I didn't know you wanted to do something. You've got Bo and whatever. So it's like, oh yeah, but one day I might want to get out, do something. I mean, I would totally, well, right, yeah, we're driving too, which I'm gonna have to pee every 2 hours. But I mean, it is what it is, and it's like, we could have just like not gone. But we wanted to go and be with family, and that's no fun. So it's like, it's like you just make it work. And it's going to be a fun vacation no matter what, just because we're all together. We live in different states. Like, we're all kind of coming together. Yeah. So it's like, it's going to be fun. But at the same time, it's like, you also might need to throw ideas around yourself if you really want to like be able to go do something with everybody. If the majority of everyone else is doing one thing and you're like the odd one out, like, you might have to just vocalize because they're thinking about, they're just like thinking about what they're doing. And like, that's why they're going there for the trip. Everyone is doing that. Right.
But wait, I'm not
There's
doing
one
it,
more.
So
There's one more.
Yeah. I think that's important to remember, but very hard. And
yeah.
I don't know. There's not really an easy way around it either. I mean, because
you just have to like nicely say something to like gently remind people, like, and then you're just like,
bum.
And it's so awkward for me. Yeah, and it's like, I'm sure, like, and also being pregnant and your hormones, you're just like in your head and more emotional about all of these things, right? So it's like, it's not like they're purposely doing anything. It's just like, you have to like vocalize what you need out of the vacation, or
in a very
like a rude way,
right? Because
it's like, excuse me. Well, yeah, and my attitude right now is not the best, so that doesn't help the situation.
Proceed with caution.
But right, that's the thing with vacations and going on vacations with friends or family or whatever. You just have to try to be mindful of the people going and their situation, but also, like, you also have to, like, stick up for yourself a little bit and say what you need out of the vacation. And then that way everyone has fun. Because, like, everyone's, like, putting money into the vacation. Everyone's paying.
Yeah,
you're paying your way. So it's like, if you want it to be a vacation that you're going to enjoy, then you have to put in the work to maybe find something for yourself to do or for everyone to do that they would all like to do. So I think just having that line of like open communication is important, and not being afraid to say something.
Well, just take an extra moment, everyone, to think about everyone in your party. Like, can this person go down a hill skiing?
Right.
Like,
right. Or can these people go out on like the boat for 5 hours a day?
Right.
Up north? No. Like, as much as they'd like to, they can't. So it's just like, I know that was kind of like your situation with the kids. It's like, I can't be out on the lake all day with the kids. And then we all were like, why not? It's like, why can't you?
Have you met my children?
Well, and then it's like, that's not fun for your kids if they're like miserable, like on a boat.
Then it's not fun for me. And then everybody else gets irritated. It's like, what's wrong with them?
And then they're a mess the rest of the day because it's like they're hungry or they miss nap, or, you just try to push it a little too far.
It's just like, Well, and another thing that just came to mind. So even if you're not taking your kids with you on a trip, but if you want to go with other couples or something, so maybe not family, well, it could be family, but couples or family, whatever, going on a trip without your kids, like this, we kind of ran into quite a few years ago, but we're not ones to like leave the kids home for an extended period and go off and do like some Caribbean cruise or whatever. So we had friends that wanted to go on a cruise, but like a 7 to 10 day cruise. Well, we're thinking like 5 days max because we don't leave the kids like that.
Yeah.
And usually
that's a long
when we
time.
do vacation, we like to do it with everyone. Like, I mean, even when they're little, it's like we like to do a vacation together, and that's just how we are. And, you know, not everyone's like that. So we ran into that issue, and it was really hard because our friends just couldn't understand that. Well, why don't you want to go? Like, I would love to go, but I don't want to leave my kids for 10 days. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just not.
I mean, it's a long time. And it depends on their ages, too, I think.
Yeah.
You know? And then, like, when they're young, you don't want to leave them. Like, you miss them. And, like, even when they're older, like, you miss them. But then you're like, what are they doing to the house? Like, you know? And it's
too.
like...
Putting holes in the wall.
Well... They were gone for a night, okay? So they never left me for 10 days.
No, but that's all it took to get a hole in the wall.
Yeah, well...
Yeah.
We won't
go down.
My lips are sealed.
But,
no, our friend was just a little intoxicated and was spinning down the hallway in a office chair and hit her elbow into the wall. And then we just proceeded to put a picture over the hole.
Because you can't tell.
Even though it was like almost floor level. Oh, God.
Good.
Luckily, DJ was able to patch it up just fine.
Yes, he did. That's funny.
But I think they did leave the picture over there for a little while.
Because it was so funny.
Because it was just, I mean.
It was good.
The things you do in high school. Actually, no, I think it was our first year at college.
SC Forum? When you were here in town? Or community college?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might have been it. Sounds about right. But anyways, yeah.
Anywho.
So, I mean, there's a lot of different things to consider. And I don't know. I think it's just forgotten that not everyone is going to think like you. I mean, like, you know.
Well, that's exactly it. Yeah. Not everyone is in your mind and knows exactly what you're thinking. That's why it's important to communicate. And if you have, like, an issue or your needs, like, on the vacation are not being met, you have to just, like, vocalize that. Because otherwise, no one's going to know unless you tell them.
And you're going to be walking around all pissy.
Right. and then they're like, what's wrong with you?
What's wrong? Yeah. Like, why are you... What's
right.
the problem?
And, like, nobody wants that. Like, nobody wants that. I mean, God. It's like Debbie Downer over here.
Yeah. So I think that's a good place to leave it, though. Just to, you know, make sure that you talk to everybody about things, or, you know, just try to throw some input in, some good ideas that are accommodating to you.
Yeah.
But,
like when everyone's talking about
that.
the vacation, just provide like something, like a little like, yeah, let's do this, or let's do this. Let's all go do this.
This town is awesome. Why don't we go and have like a shopping afternoon, or I mean, even going out to a restaurant or something. I mean, if they're back in the evening, at least, you know, you guys can have drinks. Well, you can't drink. You can have a mocktail, but I mean, you can do.
Well, you're just all together.
Yeah, you're not secluded in the house, in the Airbnb.
Right. And I think like with this trip, like it's definitely going to be more people in and out, not skiing all day, maybe ski a half day. Some people go all day. Like, because there's other kids there. There's other parents that are going to have to be there too. Their kids are older or a little bit older, and like they're going to ski and give lessons. And they're not going to go all day. No, yeah. So it's like, it's not like I'm going to be sitting alone at the Airbnb all day. But it's like, if I like want to get out, like I just have to like vocalize that and say that, because otherwise they're not going to know. They might be like, we're right on the base of the mountain. There's stuff like around there to do, like, but you just have to figure out what that is, I guess, or drive.
Right. Yeah. But, you know, it may surprise you. They may, you know, enjoy the alternative activities too. I mean, something that you come up with.
I mean, let's just face it. We're all getting older, and who is going to be able to ski all day? We went like huffing and puffing. Like there's like, who is in that good a shape at this point that we're going to be skiing all day long? Yeah. We all were in much better shape 5-10 years ago, whenever the heck we went last time. Yeah. And now it's just like, okay, yeah, half a day sounds good.
Yeah, sounds great. I mean, the first day you might be over ambitious and say all day, but I'm pretty sure it'll kind of dwindle.
It'll even itself out towards the end. Well, and then I think when it just comes to vacations in general, like everyone has a different idea of what the vacation is going to be. And
or what feels good, what is enjoyable, which is,
and that's why it's always like it can be tricky traveling with a bunch of people, friends or family, because everyone has a different idea of what the vacation looks
even
like.
In the car,
they want to do different things, right?
Just a matter of you're stopping or how long you're going to go, or all the little things.
There's just not everyone is going to be 100% happy when you travel with that many people. It's just impossible.
Right.
But that's why it's nice to like accommodate and vocalize your concerns and like what you want to do, so that, if everyone doesn't want to do this activity and some people do, it's okay to split up.
Yeah, I was going to say, split the group up, and, you guys with the kids can go this way. And
right. It's like if especially like people that don't have kids and they, or are either older or younger or whatever, it's like you guys can all go do whatever you want to do, but the people with kids might want to do something else, and you don't have to do that every day. But it's like that's what's nice about being there a little bit longer, is like you can do different things, and different people can do different things, and then you can do things all together. But that's why it's important, like when you are planning vacations, that you just are all open about what you want to do, because because otherwise it's like people can't read your mind, people don't know.
I don't know why not. I mean,
they should.
My looks are right across the side, my face. So yours usually are too.
Yeah.
But I mean, gosh, even when we go up north now, we still, was it last summer, I think, or the summer before, when we all went up for the 4th? I don't remember what it was.
It was 4th of July, I think.
You guys, you guys were out in the boat a lot. The kids are older, but they're still bored. We went into town. Yeah. We went in and had lunch. There was a little festival thing going on. We just went and did our own thing, the four of us. But that's kind of how we always do things. We always, I don't know, we always have our regroup moment. We always just.
Well, that's the thing, too. It's like when you are, and then like holiday weekends are always chaotic anyway. Because like there's a lot of people on the lake that you want to see, a lot of friends, like a lot of people from out of town are there, so it's like, that's a whole nother dynamic. And then like, we've been up there every year on the 4th doing all of these things. And so you're used to a certain routine, and like, that's just like what happens. Right. And then when someone else is like, you're like, but this is what we do every year.
Like, you're not going to do this.
It's like,
I'm that way.
It's like, it's like, okay, but it's like, we're still going to do this, though, because, like, that's the thing. It's like, well, no, we do this every year.
Right.
Sorry.
We haven't been up there in years on this holiday. We don't know what you do.
Right. Well, and that's the thing. It's like another great point. It's like when you have, like, a family cottage like that, and you're used to doing something on a holiday or whatever, and then you either have friends up or family up that haven't been up there or haven't been up there in a while, and then they're like, actually, can we do this? Or I don't think we're going to do... You're like...
What?
No. It's like, what? How do you not want to do this? This is what we do.
This is what has to happen.
So that's the other thing. It's like when you do go up with like say we had a friend up, we would bring friends up. It's like they didn't have a choice. Right. It's like if you're up here on this weekend, this holiday weekend, we wake up, we decorate the boat, we do the boat parade, we stay out and we drink, and we are on like we go over to like now my husband, but we go over to the Schmiggy's beach, hang out there. It's like we'll have a cookout there, and then usually us kids would stay and have a garage party. Yeah. And then sometimes we would like just stay there or we'd go home. But it's like that's what we did every year.
Into town. What are you doing, Jessica?
Like,
you're going.
We
into
would
town?
never. That's the thing. We just. It's funny. We just started going into town more like the last like 5 years maybe. Mm-hmm. Especially now, like with the kids, like there's a parade and
and
stuff like that.
Something new.
But you know, it's just funny because, like, we had at that point no responsibilities. Like, the guys we liked were over on the other side of the lake, and I wanted to see Brett, and there were always, like, friends up, and we're just like,
my kids would be bored.
Well, right. It's like they're around a bunch of, like, annoying, like, 22-year-olds and these old people, and they're just on the boat all day or floating in the water, and, like, this isn't fun for me.
This is not fun.
But, I mean, it's just funny because we were, like, there were no kids up there. Like, no kids. Like, no one on either side had young kids.
That would come would be mine.
Right.
I mean, that was it. And that's why it was such an awkward time for us. We are...
Because we have an almost 9-year age gap. So, like, the stages of life were so different. And then when you're going over to, like, other people's houses on the lake and none of them have kids, it's just like a whole other thing. Like, everyone's just doing whatever they want to do. And you're like, I have 2 people I'm responsible for, and they don't want to do this.
And they are very bored, and they don't. Yeah.
But, and, like, now, like, looking back, like, I feel kind of bad because I was, like, not helpful at all. I was like, no, I'm going over there and hanging out with that guy that I like, and we're going to be on the boat, and I'm going to have some drinks, and I'm like, see ya. Like, but that's being like a young, selfish 22-year-old.
What it was.
But that's exactly what it was. And I'm like, oh, now I can understand. Like, you are right, because now I'm in that situation, and like at the same time, though, we all have kids now. Like, I have kids, like, you have kids, lucky. Sid has kids, like, Brett's sister has kids. So it's like now everyone's in this stage of life of having kids. Our friends have kids now. So it's a completely different dynamic for everybody up there.
But you're together now. Like, you have so many more people. Like, I'm pretty much out of the stage of kids. Because, you know, it's already... We've already been there.
Well, that's the thing. We're at least, like, all, like, Sid and I, of course, we're twins. We're pretty much in the same stage of life. But it's like
10-year difference because you guys started everything a little bit later. I started earlier. So
I didn't have Bo till I was 32.
That gap. But I mean, that was when I had Taylor. My second was at 32.
Yeah. So. I know. And then Brett's sister, Ashley, she had her kids, like, a little later, but our same time. She's older than us, like 4 years older than us. But it's just crazy, though. It makes a huge difference because now I'm like, there's, you know, we're like getting pressured to go over to the other side of the lake because they're all over there. But then I have to be over here. We're not close enough where you can just like walk over there. You gotta drive or take a boat. Yeah. And then now that we have like, now that Brett and I are married, we have 2 cottages on the same lake because our families both have cottages. So you have to pick like which one you're going to stay at and stay there because now we have Bo. Before, sometimes Brett and I would switch off. Like one night I'd be here, one night, you know, I'm going to have dinner over here and I'll just stay the night here.
He'd be over at theirs and you'd be at ours.
But now you can't. Yeah, now you can't do that. Now it's like, okay, well, you have to like have home base at one place and stay there, which makes it hard for the other family because they want to see you just as much, but you're like, I can't do both. Which also is like, you know, it's, I mean, great that we have 2 cottages and 2 opportunities to be up there. If one place is full, we'll stay at the other place kind of thing. But it's also hard because you feel so torn and it's like, I'm not picking this one over you. I'm picking this one because there's room here, or because I stayed here last time, I'm going to stay here this time. Like, you just have to, like, kind of just
so much thought that has to go into it.
First, it's like, what a problem to have. Which cottage are you staying at? But it does get hard because it's a little bit,
especially with you and Brett. Like, you know, like he might want to be at his folks, and
that was honestly a big. That was a problem when we were like dating and like together, like before we had Bo. Is like you'd have to decide whose place you're having dinner at. Right. Sometimes we'd split up, but you want to be together. So then you feel guilty leaving, you know, one place to go to the other. So like a lot of the times we ended up splitting up, and then I would like have dinner with my family. Then I'd go over there and like hang out with them at night because like our parents would go to bed earlier or there just wasn't much going on. But then over here, like his whole family's over there, and and there's like a party in the garage and you're like, okay, I'll go over there after dinner. But then it's like, at least you're spending time with your family that you want to be with. And then you can go over there and spend time with the other family that you want to be with. It's just like, you have to, it's like a juggling act. And then sometimes like we'd be like, okay, before we go this weekend, which place are we staying at?
Right. You need a plan.
Are we staying at mine or we're staying at yours? And then it's like, okay. And then sometimes
you gotta like justify your answers.
Well, sometimes we'd be like on the boat and we're like, okay, what are you having for dinner tonight? And what are you having for dinner tonight? It's like, ooh, they're having steak over there. Let's go. We're gonna go to your place tonight. You're having ribs on the grill. All right. It's like, oh, you're just doing burgers and hot dogs. Okay. Let's go to your place for dinner tonight. Yeah. We would literally, and then it got to just like be a joke because we're like, everyone's like, okay, who's got the better dinner?
So that you can, so that you'll come.
Well, and it was also hard, like when like you or Sid were up and I had to be pulled. I would most of the time just be like, no, I'm gonna stay have dinner with my family.
You usually split up at that point. Because you were usually with us.
Yeah, because I'm like, no, they're here. They're not here all the time. I was like, I'm going to be here. If you want to come, great. But I'd also be like, if you want to go over there, I totally understand. Because his family, like usually it'd be like a holiday weekend when it was the hardest because his sister would come in from out of state. His brother would come in from out of state. And of course he wants to be with them all the time. And so I'm like, oh yeah, of course. Like, you go over there. It wasn't always easy because we wanted to be together, but I'd be like, no, you need to go over there. I want to be with my family. You want to be with yours, and we'll meet up later. Like, I'll see you all the darn time. Like, it's fine. But also, you want to see the family that's in from out of town, too, but you also want to see your family. So it's great, and it's hard because it's like everyone's always up there.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to pick one place to go for the 4th. You know, it's like we were always all in one spot and you had to pick like what cottage you're going to be at and who you're hanging out with. It is so much tension and pressure, like unnecessary because you're doing it to yourself because everyone understands. But like now that we have Bo, it was this past summer, it was really hard because you want to see the families from out of town, but you also want to still see your family. And then you have a kid that you have to get their nap schedules and their food.
They need a stationary spot. They need to have.
They need to be comfortable, right? And there's all this other stuff going on. Other people are there. You feel like you're missing out because you have to sit at the cottage because he's napping. But then like Brett would be off like with his family, and I'm like, you know, I also need help. Yeah, and then that would be the thing too. It's like I totally get it. I understand you want to be with your family, but you also have this little family that I need your help too because I was doing everything by myself, and I'm like, I just need a break. I need help, right? Like, so then,
family.
Yeah, I like after like the second or third day of it, I was like, Brett, I understand. I was like, but you have to help me more. Like I am running on E right now. Like you're up in a new place. Like he's young, he's breastfeeding. I know like I have to do a lot of it anyways, but I was like, I just kind of need more of your help. You can't, just yeah. And so like after I talked to him about it, it was fine. But it's like it was one of those things that we had to navigate through because we had never had to navigate through it before with a kid. And I'm like, I understand you want to be over there, but I need help. I was like, I'm doing everything by myself. I'm like, I am tired. I need help. Like shout out to the single moms because I was like, God, like it was just a lot. And then you're in a new place. It's always harder. We have almost everything we would need at our cottage though, like pack and play, plates, bibs, whatever. Right. But it's always a lot.
But there's noises. It's like you wakes up from a nap because somebody's coming in and out of the doors. Or, there's just so many things in there. I mean, the walls are thin.
Yeah. I mean, there's just, it's not home, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But that's the thing, traveling, going away for a weekend, a week, whatever, it's always going to be difficult to some extent, and you try to make it as easy and comfortable as possible, but it's not going to be great or perfect for everyone. Yeah, it just has to be like going into that, you have to understand that, and everyone else has to understand that, like, they're not trying to make things hard. They're not trying to like ruin your vacation or anything like that. It's like they're just doing what they have to do or what they want to do.
Their vacation, but it's all of your vacation. Like it's your vacation too.
Well, I'm not necessarily talking about me specifically, but just like in the general scheme of things, like the other people that are like on your vacation with you. Right. But in their mind though, like they're thinking, you know, like, you know, so it's just like you all have to just I don't
Yes, be vocal. Express your feelings in a kind, calm way.
Right, yeah. I feel like I feel like that can also be the thing. It's like you never know how like your tone is coming across to other people.
Your tone's all wrong.
Or well, I'm not vocally, but like through like a text message. I feel like people like you almost have to like do exclamation points and smiley faces and all that stuff because if you say like something like with nothing, they're just like, oh God, she's pissed, you know? But that's like anybody, you know, especially when people just go, okay.
Don't
like,
use the cap.
It's so silly, but people just are like, okay, like that's it. Okay. Like she must be pissed. Like, you know? So that's also hard. So it's almost like just get on like a call or a FaceTime or something so that people can actually like hear your voice and that you're not mad.
Yes.
Or do a bunch of exclamations and smiley faces.
Point. Yes. It's always better to talk.
But like how silly. Like you're just worried about your tone on a text message, but it's a thing now. It's like a thing.
I mean, it's easy to set people off.
Oh, I know.
I mean,
but
there's
that's
things
the thing.
that set us like. I mean, it would set us off. That's the thing. Like, what do you mean? That was really, really direct. She's like, oh, it's all wrong. Talk to me like that.
It's like, how dare she?
No, that's not gonna work. But
or how dare he? I can't believe Brett said that to me.
Oh my God. Okay, well, I think that pretty much sums up what we are trying to get across, which is just, you know, remembering to say what you're feeling, you know, talk through these vacations when you've got large groups, when, you know, and remember everybody's in different phases. So just because 99% of the people in your group can do it doesn't mean everyone can. So we will leave it at that. And hopefully in our next episode, we can kind of follow this up with how a certain trip did go and how it was navigated. And we will analyze that.
Thanks for joining us today on She's Got It Together. It's been a real journey sharing and laughing with you all.
We hope you're walking away with a smile on your face and a bit more confidence in your step.
Remember, you're not alone in this crazy ride called life. We're all in this together, one day at a time.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and of course, share this podcast with all the incredible women in your life.
Join us next week for more stories, more laughs, and more real talk.
Until then, keep embracing your unique journey and remember, you've got it together more than you think.